everyone, I'm RiseCool007 and welcome back. Now if you're a SpaceX fan like me, then you notice over the years that they've had a very vast selection of rockets and launch vehicles. When SpaceX was first founded in 2002, they didn't have a rocket or much to actually put an object into orbit. That's where the first Falcon 1 came in. The Falcon 1 rocket just had one single Merlin engine on the first stage, and after it was depleted, it fell back to Earth and landed in the ocean with a parachute to be picked up by a boat. The second stage was powered by a SpaceX Kestrel engine. This engine was specifically made for vacuum flight as it had a much larger belt. They first launched the Falcon 1 on March 24th, 2006. Although that launch was a fail, they tried again on March 22nd, 2007, and that launch also failed. But they tried again and again 17 months later, but this first stage ended up slamming into the second stage mid-flight and rendered the launch a failure. The fourth launch would have been the very final launch of SpaceX if it weren't for the rocket actually reaching orbit on September 28th, 2008. It was the first privately funded rocket to do so. It completed one more launch on July 13th, 2009, finishing out the last mission of the Falcon 1. Of course, SpaceX wasn't done. On June 4th, 2010, the first version of the Falcon 9 flew. It had 9 Merlin engines on the first stage in kind of a grid pattern, and it had a Merlin 1C engine for the second stage with a bigger bell for the vacuum of space. All launches of the Falcon 9 V1 were successful besides an anomaly on the secondary payload. It flew from 2010 to 2013. While the Falcon 9 V1 was launching, SpaceX was actually doing something else as well. They were launching another rocket called the Grasshopper. While this rocket never actually reached space or really high up, its purpose was to test out landing for Falcon 9 for the very first time. It was used mostly for tests and for research for them to really see how it could handle. It completed many hops, including a 1 kilometer hop as well. Now the Falcon 9 V1.1 was SpaceX's next big rocket. It was a lot taller than the V1 and had a new pattern for the first stage engine. This pattern is the one that you can still find on the rockets today. It also had 60% more thrust and weight. The first stage had 9 Merlin engines, but they were upgraded to the Merlin 1D, and the second stage now had a new Merlin 1D vacuum engine for space. Its first launch was in September 2013, and its final launch was in January of 2016. Actually pretty close to where we are now. Now the Falcon 9 V1.1, or full thrust as they call it, is still being used today. It first flew in December of 2015 and was basically just bigger and better than the V1.1 in almost every way. Oh, and it could land.
Stage 1 is landed.
Now the second version of the V1.2 Falcon 9, still the 1.2, is the Block 5, but it's pretty similar. Its main difference is reusability, as the Block 5 Falcon 9 can be reused and refurbished easier and can do more launches per one single first stage. This rocket also launched astronauts Bob and Doug, who will be coming home on the ISS in the beginning of August. I think it's targeted for August 2nd or August 3rd, one of those. Of course, it's still in use today, and you can tell when SpaceX launches a Block 5 by the color scheme on the outside of the rocket. It is black thermal protection on the outside, covering most of the rocket. Now the next and biggest rocket SpaceX currently has in operation is the Falcon Heavy. So the Falcon Heavy is basically just taking 3 Falcon 9s and smashing them together with a single Merlin 1D vacuum engine on the second stage to make this the beast. Now it is capable of sending currently the highest amount of payload capacity and is the second highest capacity to reach orbit behind the Saturn V. Best of all, it's a lot more reusable than the Saturn V, as all first stages are capable of landing on either drone ships or landing pads. It has 27 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage and 1 engine on the second stage. Its first launch was on February 6th, 2018, carrying a Tesla Roadster to loop around Mars. It has had 2 more launches since, both being successful. It is capable of reaching Mars and putting humans there, but I'm not sure about coming back. That's where SpaceX's Starship comes into play. Currently being built, it will be the most powerful rocket ever made, and will also be one of the tallest, beating the Saturn V. The super heavy booster, or the first stage, will most likely be as tall as the first and second stage of the Saturn V, along with having 31 Raptor engines. The first stage will be reusable, and will land back at the launch pad, ready to load up again with fuel. The second stage, or Starship, has the ability to land as well, whether it's Earth or Mars or even the moon. It will have 3 sea-level Raptor engines and 3 vacuum Raptor engines. Now my favorite part about the Starship is how it lands. And watch this, it falls through the atmosphere like a skydiver, then powers on the Raptor engines and flips to slow down and lands. I can't wait to see this in real life and to actually see it land like that, or just to see how the design changes or morphs. Currently, SpaceX is scheduled to do the first hop test of a Starship prototype this week, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and comment down below if you're excited about Starship and Superheavy. Again, thanks for watching. Bye!